Okay, there we go. Now we're live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the 13th episode of Maverick Minds, where we invite some interesting people excited about entrepreneurship and so on. Today we have Morten Petterson, a entrepreneur here from Norway. Morten brings 8 years of experience in the retail industry, 7 years in constructions, most recently as project secretary, accountant, health safety and environment leader, and at the age of 27 being offered a role as store manager at a prominent retail company, but coming to the point where he felt burnt out, he started questioning whether there was more to life than just this. So this reflection led him to embark on his first entrepreneurial journey. This was becoming one of the pioneers in Norway to establish a drone company and working on projects for both real estate developers and the TV industry, and also securing a project with the Travel Channel, allowing him to travel the world. This experience ignited his belief that dreams can indeed come true. So a lot of interesting stuff there. We're really excited to have you on. So tying this into the main topic of this this episode of finding passion and purpose as an entrepreneur, how did you discover your passion based on this background, and how did it come to that position where you found out that okay, entrepreneurship was the right path for you to overcome that feeling of feeling burnt out?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for the last time when we got to know each other at the Norwegian International Entrepreneur Conference. So how that adventure started is it started when I was in the retail business, and I was thinking, is this what I really want to do for the rest of my life? And then I got the opportunity to run my own retail store, like a Kiwi. And then I was thinking, shit, if I say yes to this, I will be in this business for the rest of my life. And I was you said, 27 years old, and we only live once. I need to take this chance. I didn't know that actually entrepreneurship at that time was the thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to do something completely something new, and to dare to believe in myself a little bit. So that's why because I have some business, I have some contacts in the media, in the television business, and they told me that they really need the drones and stuff like that. So, and there was only one in the northern Norway who had the company. So I was the second one who started a drone company in Norway. So I got a lot of jobs. So it was very, very good. And suddenly my every day was changing from to selling hot dogs and coffee to travel around the world and meet amazing people. And every day was like I had to pinch my arm, and then that was the fire that okay, you can actually believe in yourself and take the right steps to that. So and the reason, and now I am and now 10 years later, now I'm studying entrepreneurship. I take a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship on Høgskolen Kristiania, and the reason I took that choice was actually because of Africa. Because I was thinking again, because I was working with a drone company and in the construction at the same time, so. And then I was like really thinking, and then at the construction company, my boss wanted me to take over his job. And again, like a big promotion. And I was thinking, but if I say yes to this, I will be here for the rest of my life. And it didn't feel right. And it was a big pay and everything. So, and then I understand that maybe money wasn't the biggest motivation after all. But so when I got that opportunity again, I was thinking, okay, Morten, now you have said no to 2 big job opportunities, and now you have to be really honest with yourself. What do you really want to do in life? And to be really honest with yourself is actually very hard. But for me, it was because you are thinking about what other people expect of you. That has a lot of impact in that way you're thinking and stuff like that. So when I was like trying to be honest with myself, what do I really want? And then I was thinking, okay, where in life was I most happy? And then I'm thinking about Africa. I've been traveling to 8 different countries in Africa. Can tell more about that later or something, how that started. But then I thought, okay, that's the kind of environment I want to be in. So I thought, okay, so what am I going to do in Africa? What am I going to work with that's going to be cool and meaningful? So I'm really, I love animals really much. And I thought, okay, yeah, animals, maybe it will be cool to have some lions running with my, through some lion cubs running through my legs while I cook some dinners and, that kind of stuff. I had to dream. I had to be really honest with myself, what will be in the perfect world, the perfect situation for me when I feel that my life has a really meaningful purpose. And because it's very like a, how do you say it in English? Cliche said.
Cliche, yeah.
Yeah, you can say, yeah.
Cliche.
That you can do whatever you want, But yes, that's true. And no, I cannot be an astronaut, even if I want to be an astronaut for one day. I can never be that because I only. That's not that's not what I really want. You can become what you really want if you really want it, if you really have a passion for it. So that's why in Africa and all those kinds of stuff I talked about now, that's really intrigued me. And I was okay, what I'm going to work with. And I've been to the biggest slum in Africa. It's in Kenya, called the Kibera slum. It's in Nairobi, the capital. It's almost 1 million people living there, and it's in very poor conditions. They're just living under these metal roofs, and just they live in horrible conditions. And I was thinking, okay, what can I do for them? Maybe I can create jobs for them. And then something ignited in me. Wow, yeah, imagine if I can just help one family with their kids to get out of there. That would be amazing. I will feel, of course, good. I will know that my work, has another purpose than I will be rich, And then, okay. So I was thinking, okay, I have to have many, like a factory, because I have to give many people jobs. And I thought, okay, what are I going to do with the factory? And after many trips in Africa, I know that they are very good. They are very creative. They're very good with their hands. And say, okay, so they can make handmade African flower pots, with the cool ornaments and stuff like that. So that I know that will sell like hot bread, as we say in Norway, in Europe and stuff. And many things, and then I just started to play around with the thought, and then I thought, okay, but a factory, wow, I have no experience in factory, and that's a whole nother business. I thought, okay, I have to go to school, and then I was trying to look on the internet, try to find out. Then entrepreneurship came up, and that looked really intriguing to me, because it's not only like the factory. I have a lot of ideas, and that's what this school is about, how to make an idea to be a reality. So this is very perfect. And for the first time, actually, I love school. I've never been so good at school before, but this, I really am interested in this, and I never had so high grades that I have now, and I'm really, now I'm in the perfect position that I should be in.
Amazing. And what really intrigues me is that when you turned down these big promotions in a sense because you didn't find that money was a satisfactory motivation for you, and that there was these issues of being bound in this position potentially for the rest of your life and feeling burnt out in a sense, then how did you consider the component when going over to kind of entrepreneurship part where there still is a lot of work involved, but and may be a risk of burning out if you don't have the right balance in a sense. But how do you kind of balance those considerations? Is it that you get the freedom to do, like, to follow your own pursuits in a sense, or kind of based on your own values and so on, based on taking that into account where it doesn't feel like you're burning out even though there are still a lot of work involved with entrepreneurship? Or how do you tackle that kind of situation or those considerations around, okay, the at least in a regular job, right? Okay, you go to the office at 8, you go home at 4, and then you don't need to work outside. Whereas that's not the case if you're an entrepreneur, right? So how do you kind of balance those things in terms of that you get that freedom when you're an entrepreneur, but you also don't get the, in a sense, luxuries of a 9 to 5 job, in the sense that you don't need to work all the time, right? So how do you think around those issues as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, first of all, I'm talking here about dreams, and I have to find a
Mhm.
passion, and it sounds like that everybody should be an entrepreneur to have a good life. Let me
Mm.
say you this, that the entrepreneur life is not for everybody at
Absolutely not.
all. You have to experience some hardship in your life actually before
Mm.
you become an entrepreneur, because if you
Yeah.
can't handle hardship, this is not for you. and
Mm.
and
Yeah.
this is and but how I still find the motivation is because the entrepreneurship is a lifestyle, and it's the
Mm.
lifestyle that I want to live. So
Yeah.
even though things are not going my way and stuff like that, I know I'm still in the environment that, well, as I am right now. I know I'm going to
Mm.
Africa. That's the plan. That's the main goal.
Yeah.
But there are many that I'm running a company now.
Mm.
has to be profitable. It's a lot of things that has to go well. So I know I'm
Yeah.
gonna meet some obstacles on the way and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I'm prepared for that. But still, it's the carrot in the end that's motivating
Mm.
me. And I know that, like right now, I know that that's the purpose of my life.
Mm.
For right now, yeah.
Mm.
So that's how I still find the motivation,
Mm.
still in hardship, that I'm in the right environment. This is the
Mm.
right profession for me, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed that as well on my journey that like sometimes it goes through those types of hardship where you have those periods of growth pains, in a sense. You have to figure out a lot of new things, and maybe it's even financial difficulties where you are like, okay, week by week, day by day, are you actually going to get through this and survive? Yeah, or survive, of course, but get through this in a corporate sense, get through this in avoiding bankruptcy and so on. Will you actually be able to land those deals in time before you run out of money, and so on? But also, uh, but it's been incredible that even when going through those types of weeks where there are concerns about this, okay, what type of experience are you able to be a part of, being part of in like these international conferences, meeting people from around the world in politics, in business, academia, media, and so on, and building these relationship? And of course, as an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that something actually gets out of those conferences that you're using money on and so on. But you're having a pretty grand time actually being part of this and being actually enjoying the experience of being part of these forums where things real changes are actually happening, and that you are able to produce these types of opportunities, right? And that's what I find really interesting, at least, that if you can at least be a part of those conferences, be a part of those situations, okay, you may still need to make it worth the investment of going there, but there are so many opportunities there if you just know how to get started with actually using these stuff, right? So I think like even despite the challenges, just building on those opportunities and then building one step at a time, right? And back to the issue of finding like the right balance in a sense, and avoiding burnout. Of course, you need to. What I've realized as well is that, of course, you're running a marathon, right? In a sense that it doesn't work to just work yourself like to death just because you think you have to work all the time, because that's a challenge in the beginning, where you see like a lot of these kind of gurus and so on say that you need to work 10 to 12 hours a day to make it, or otherwise you're not going to make it, right? But it's not really a long-term sustainable option. But like building good habits, like okay, doing the work that needs to be done, of course, but also noting that okay, you have to take care of yourself as well. You have to do some proper exercise, keep yourself in good diet, be sure to have other habits outside of your work as well that kind of supports you, like, of course. And this is individual for everybody, right? Like there are some people who may be wired to work 10 to 12 hours a day, like with for the rest of their life without problems, but that's a very small minority of the population. Like Elon Musk, okay, he can do that, sure, but like he's wired that way, and that's just the way he operates. And
the Americans in general, they're really hardworking people, when the business people.
Yeah, exactly, right. But that's a thing I should bring over to you as well. Like, how do you consider around these things about finding that right balance now that you're taking that now that you took that step from being kind of limited in your 9 to 5 position and over to an entrepreneur with the freedom it involves? How did you kind of find that right balance, and to be able to maintain your passion, maintain your purpose in doing what you want to do without burning yourself out in the process?
Well, I've been burned out many times, but actually not ever since I started this quest yet. But just a little bit comment to what you just said, and that all the obstacles and the hardships and what you are experiencing as a new entrepreneur. The good thing is the good thing about entrepreneur, you're always looking for better solutions. The rules are not set for an entrepreneur. You are setting the rules. So if something don't work, there's not like a schedule. Okay, then you do this, like in a normal factory or other work.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to, you have full freedom to be creative, to have to solve problems, and I really like that. And I have done that so many times, and that's how actually also why I'm doing what I'm doing now, and how far I get got. But sorry. Now, what was the last question again? You said. How I found.
Yeah, how you found kind of the right balance in a sense when making that transition over to having the freedom to work on your own project.
Because I had a job with a good pay and everything, and to take the decision to start school again with a lot less money and stuff like that. That was really hard to take the decision. And I knew I had to move out from the apartment, and I had to really restructure my whole life and how I live. And because living as a student, especially when I've been living on a good paycheck for 10-15 years, is really hard to go back to that. But still, it was. I just had to take a chance. you know, on it. We only live once, and I will regret it. And since this is actually, I know that this is my so much passion, I will never forgive myself if I actually didn't try. So that was actually harder to say no to myself, that no, I cannot do that, I want to,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, so that's how I was just so motivated to do it.
Yeah, and there are probably many others who have who are still struggling with that decision. Are they ready to take the plunge like we did? In a sense, we had safe 9 to 5 jobs, pretty well paid and so on, but we both decided to make that jump. So what do you think are some kind of signs or key elements to consider when making that decision? Like, if there are any viewers here, for instance, who are considering this stuff, making that transition from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship, what should they think about, or how do they know whether they are, in a sense, ready to make that transition?
Yeah, first of all, I think the motivation for doing something else absolutely has to be there. If many people are just waking up and hating their life because they're hating their job, and to really find their, so this, now we're talking about how to really find your purpose in life, to find the passion to do what's your purpose in life. And many people say, even the grown-ups people and especially young people, I don't know what to do in life. People are studying what their parents know they're studying, and they're not doing it because they don't know the passion. And that's, I can just only speak about my experience, and I'm trying to tell this to all my friends also. This is how you find your passion and your purpose in life. But it's like I said earlier, you have to put yourself in a situation, in your head, in your imagination, like where you have to put yourself in a perfect situation. Like, where would you be most happy in life? Okay, is it to sit on the beach, to sip on a drink for the rest of your life? Is that the dream? You know, that was my first thought. Like, okay, like a paradise life, laying on the beach, and that sounded actually very boring. I can do that sometimes, but not the rest of my life. You know, what, to work with sand and build sand castles? No, it's not funny. So
Exactly.
so you have to, and you have to be really honest with yourself, and that's also a little practice. It was for me. But so you have to put yourself in your perfect situation. Like me, I was where in life was I most happy? Okay, when I traveled to Africa, then I'm an adventurous guy. I like adventures and stuff like that. So Indiana Jones is like an idol for me. Something like that. So I knew that kind of environment will be perfect for me if I could live like that kind of life. So that I will recommend, to really be honest with yourself. Don't think about what people want you to do, or your parents, or what the society wants you to do. But what do you like? Not to talk so much about religion, but like, we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose. So it's there, and it's not. I will say, it's not in your heart. It's not in your head. It's in your stomach. This is where they say your soul is sitting. So your purpose, you will find it in the stomach. If you are thinking about your perfect situation, your dream, and your stomach tickles about that thought, then you are on the right track. That, oh shit, this tickles. So listen to your stomach feeling. It's when you are just, oh yeah, maybe this is the right for me, and you tweak it, and you will find it.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago there was this tendency, or this kind of movement called FIRE, or the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. And generally the aim of these people in this with this aim was that, okay, they want financial independence and they want to retire early. They want to retire in their 30s and so on. If only they can work up enough money, or to get, like, by some means get a lot of money, then they can live the rest of their lives, right? And okay, it sounds good, but like in most cases, that won't be very practical, right? Because unless you are someone who are like inheriting that type of money, it likely isn't going to happen that way, right? Like you need to, if you are building up from like even an upper middle class household, and are going to achieve some level of kind of financial independence in that regard, you need to be prepared that that is going to involve a lot of risk and a lot of struggle, a lot of work. And if you have that mentality in that sense that, okay, you only work as minimum as possible to be able to reach that stepping stone, and there you never have to work again, that is not going to be a very long-term practical strategy to go about this, like reaching this goal, right? I think what is most likely to, or what is likely to be much more effective, is to think that, okay, you act as if you're going to do this for 50 years or for the rest of your life, right? Okay, are you going to be willing to go through that day after day after day and eventually build yourself up to get to a better financial situation, get to a better social status, whatever you're aiming towards, right? But being willing to go through the challenges and hardships that are involved in that, and not kind of thinking that just if you are just going to like by some means able to reach this type of financial independence where you can retire and live in luxury by the time you're 30s, like especially if you're starting in the middle or even in the beginning or middle of your 20s, that is going to be a tough challenge during your 20s to be able to get to that point. Okay, some may be able to do something but like that, but that is like a few people in the world, maybe. Like what was his name? I think it was the CEO of Gymshark or so on, the youngest billionaire or so on. But that is the absolute exception, right? I think what you need to be prepared to do is that, okay, this is maybe going to take a decade of really hard work, or at least several years before you actually get the breakthroughs you're looking for. Right, and like knowing and being prepared for that, because the first step is having the vision and understanding, okay, what do you want to achieve, but also having some kind of consideration that, okay, this is going to take a lot of risk, a lot of effort, and maybe take a much longer period than I expected it will take, but that this vision of your future seems so desirable that even despite those things, like you still want to go that way. I think in that case, that is where you distinguish yourself from the vast majority when you are making that decision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And of course, there's nothing wrong with people who has that strategy. Even that, okay, I'm going to work hard for 10 or 20 years now, save up, and buy a restaurant on Bahamas later and live my life there, for example. That's the stepping stones to your ideal life. But but then you have to be really consistent and really good at saving, and be for 10 to 20 years. That's really hard. Of course, there's a lot of temptations, but that's like maybe the easiest way for people to think, okay, that's how I can have the money to achieve my dreams and stuff like that. The thing, actually, I've been I've been a dreamer and entrepreneur actually since I was a little kid, and I had all those kinds of ideas. And when I told my parents, they say, no, that's only for the rich people, and no, you cannot do that because you have to have a higher and a degree and whatever. This costs money, is a lot of problems. But now, as I'm getting older and I'm getting to know myself and stuff like that, so then I've been looking into this, and actually, well, now we can go a little bit into the politics. We're probably going to talk that much later also. But as an entrepreneur now in the political environment, it's hard. That's what I say, especially with the taxes and stuff. But actually, we have a lot of private organizations. Thank God for those, and funds that really are interested to invest in entrepreneurs in Norway. So when Jonas Gahr Støre says, did you say, I was watching the debate on NRK a couple of weeks ago, and the Prime Minister got some harshness for his tax politics and for the entrepreneurs. It's not possible and stuff. It's never been invested in more in entrepreneurs than ever. But that's not because of the governments. That's because of the private organizations. And of course, you have Innovation Norway. That's a government organization, but there's so much more than that. So actually, there's. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to come from a type of family to reach your dreams. If it costs money, then you just have to have a really good case. You have to have a really good case, and then they will throw money at you and help you build your business. So that should not be money like what I know now. Money is not an issue anymore. It's the case that's the issue, and that's how many entrepreneurs also are failing. That's what the statistics are saying, that many entrepreneurs or startups are failing because they didn't have a good enough case, or they didn't do enough research, market research. So if there was people want to pay for your product, so and that's the only thing you need to tweak. And to find out more about the problem you're gonna solve, and So actually, to work hard for 20 years and then start your dream. It's I take my hat off those people who does that. But there's and maybe you don't have to be an entrepreneur like you and me, but also your profession. If you want to be a carpenter, there are funds that can help you with that, to start your own carpeting company. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, and what I also think is important to note, because like a lot of like innocent aspiring entrepreneurs or early stage entrepreneurs in like around the world are struggling with like social expectations, what their parents are thinking, what they're saying, and so on. And what I think is important to consider in this regard is how extremely much the world has changed over the past 20-30 years, right? So it's like, in a sense, you can understand why they are saying what they're saying based on how the world was when they were growing up, when they were at your age and making these types of decisions for their own lives. So I think that is really important to consider when like not to like think down on them for saying these things, like, because they care about you, of course. But how much has the world changed? Why is the world different now? Why is it different now than when they were growing up? And a lot of it has to do with the democratization of information to a large degree, right? You have so much access to information about how to be an entrepreneur, how to start a business, how to do this, how to do that, right? It's just a matter of, are you going to put in the effort to actually learn about how to do this this stuff properly, searching up on the internet, reading books, YouTube courses, any kind of available source that can help you get a better understanding of how can I actually make this a reality. And with like generative AI now, it's even the next step of democratization of information in a sense, and also the generation and creation of new things, for creation of new services, creation of new products, and so on. It's so much simpler to both get access to information, but also create new stuff based on that information. And I think that is something really crucial to think about when kind of overcoming this type of social expectations from maybe the older generations who have this kind of like maybe it's an exaggeration to say archaic expectation or archaic presumptions, but it's based on when they grew up. So it makes sense in that context, but it doesn't really make sense to how the world works today. And that is where it's kind of your role, in a sense, to prove them wrong, in a sense, right? Okay, what is different now? Okay, then go out and make it happen, right? Because so many people around the world are doing that now. Even people, even teenagers are earning thousands, like millions at this
Millionaires,
like it's insane
yeah.
how some of these like even kids are doing it at this point, because they're finding the right way to position themselves, they're finding the right information, they're finding the right business models, they're finding the right way to connect to relevant people, finding product market fit and so on. And so I think that information aspect is so crucial here to be aware of when going to that step.
Yeah, absolutely. And this AI era, this information era is really exciting. And this is like the computers when they came. People thought that this was just stupid technology that was going to go away. All of those had to take another computer course to continue their jobs. So this AI, we really have to get into that and play with that in your business, and also with your ideas. You can use ChatGPT or other things to help you with your creativity if you are not even a good if you're not so creative. Even you have AI to help you with everything. So I feel like you have all the tools and all the technology to create and be what you want to be. Yeah, there's not so much limitation right now. Yeah. So,
Yeah, the possibilities are practically endless, right? And what was really interesting to see was that, like, actually just earlier this week, Andrew Tate launched a new course on, or a program about how to build AI automation agencies, in a sense. And like, a lot of people are now saying, okay, the market is saturated now. Okay, now the market is going to be spread out with these types of agencies and so on. But Liam Otley, like the founder of this business model from a few years ago, like, he came out with a new video now recently, or I think yesterday actually, just saying that, okay, this is not a bad thing necessarily. It's just validating that there is a need in the market for these types of solutions. And that means you can get an advantage from differentiating yourself and building yourself different from these newcomers, in a sense, by showing, okay, this is how it's done. Like, this is how you're actually doing this as a professional, and actually taking into account these different things. And that's what I think, like, what is interesting for me in this development, that we are running this type of AI automation agency that now has like partnerships with SaaS solutions and other developers and so on. Now we understand how to take into account security and GDPR and the EU AI Act and so on, that these newcomers are going to have to learn all by themselves, if anything at all, in these developments, right? So that presents a key opportunity, right? The longer you are in it, the more you figure out these challenges, and you are adapting and pivoting and adjusting yourself to that. So what I really like that Alex Hormozi, the serial entrepreneur in the United States, said, was that when you are first starting as an entrepreneur, you have this kind of uninformed optimism, right? You have this vision: are you going to achieve it? You're going to be a multimillionaire. You're going to like all of these things, right? But you have no idea what challenges are going to be involved. You think it will happen much sooner than it's likely to happen, and so on. But then you start having this uninformed optimism. But then eventually, when you start to get a little bit into it, you start to realize that, okay, here are a lot of challenges, right? Okay, then maybe it goes over to some of the pessimism, right? More informed pessimism, in a sense. And to at one point, it gets to this valley of despair, in a sense, where there is absolute chaos, where there is like you are at your lowest point, maybe both financially, in terms of not believing in the business model anymore, not believing this is going to work. And that's where a lot of people quit, right? That's where most people quit and go over to maybe either go back to a 9 to 5 job or try another business model or like something else, starting for completely from scratch again. But those who actually are going through this stuff and making the adjustments needed at this stage, the valley of despair, as it says, then you actually find out how to differentiate yourself and to maybe even break through in the market.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. That's amazing. Also, and I can see it also that, like you said, if you as a company right now are joining this AI automation in your business, and have Stefan here also in your business, you will definitely have an advantage for other companies, because that will give results, and other companies will see that, and they will try the AI. So, and if you are not doing that, you are behind. This is the technology, and many people are scared of AI, and with good reason, of course, but now we're talking about like military defense and stuff like that. AI is not dangerous for companies. This is not hurting anybody. This is only doing it well. You're getting smarter, and so don't be scared of AI. I think this is the future, and the future is it's like living in a science fiction movie in the 90s. It's really cool.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to your thoughts about entrepreneurship in general, and about what is needed. Like, we've talked a bit about the challenges of being an entrepreneur. So what qualities do you believe are essential for someone considering entrepreneurship? Like, is there something kind of personal characteristic that characterizes, is this a person suited to be an entrepreneur? Is this a genetic trait? Is this an environmental trait? Is it something that you can change with yourself, in a sense? Or is it just, okay, either you are in or you're out in this sense?
Yeah. I don't believe that you are born or like to be like this one type of person or anything like that. They're like you are the person that your life, like how you go through life and everything, and what you learn and stuff like that. That's gonna determine who you are and how you have dealt with your situations earlier. If you just if you gave up the first time, everything was heading not your way. If you do that enough times, that will be how you say, that will be how you develop yourself. So I will actually, I will recommend people to go out of their comfort zone. Try to go out of your comfort zone, because you're learning so much about yourself when you're doing that. Me, for example, I hate heights. On tall buildings. My body like really shakes and tickles. So, but so and I was not happy about that. So then I sky jumped. Did some sky jumping, and
Nice.
getting out of my comfort zone, and saying yes to invitations that's in environments that probably you are not so familiar in. But yeah, okay, sure, see how those people are. Just go out of the comfort zone, and I think I've done that a lot, and I learned so much and met a lot of amazing people, and learned that many people have many views, and that has helped me to build the character I am. And I feel like I have never given up. I don't know. I'm not gonna do this as like a, I don't know. Yeah, that can be another podcast. What life has brought me, But I've been really knocked down so many times. But what scares me the most, the most scary thing is if I'm gonna work just a job just to get the salary to survive. That's my worst nightmare. Yeah, I would rather be free in the woods and live out the fish there, to be free than to do something and I'm trapped. And we are living in Norway. Many peoples in the world, they are trapped. They are born in caption. They just have to do what. And so we are really lucky to live in a country like Norway. So to not take advantage of that, that's really that's a sin,
Yeah, and I really like what you're saying with this about getting outside your comfort zone in a sense, and I think this is a challenge for many who are in Norway or privileged countries in a sense, like Norway, Switzerland, and United States, and so on. Is that you are born like like if you are born in these countries, at least in the middle class and above, you have a certain level of minimum comfort level in a sense, right? Which is like you have your comfort bubble, right? And it's a sense that okay, you have enough to survive, right? You have enough to like be well in a sense, and that can kind of be the challenge for many to make that transition, right? Because going outside your comfort zone, taking risks and so on means giving up that kind of minimum level that you already have from before. So giving up those types of shackles, like in a sense, to your past, to your background with that comfort, I think is key element here. Because like I can really completely relate to what you're saying with going outside your comfort zone. I remember it's just like a few years ago when I was like just starting with networking and so on, like completely beginner level, like introvert to the maximum most extreme extent, right? Completely terrifying experience to be a part of events like that, whereas but of course if you never start, if you never surround yourself in those environments where it is uncomfortable, like it is like you feel like a bit okay off in a sense, if you aren't experienced those things, if you're never starting, like of course you never get good at it. Like right now, like when I was at that yearly conference like yesterday, I was like, okay, whatever, right? I was going up, okay, okay, you are from KPMG, you are from the local police, you are a politician, like
Former
okay,
prime
sure,
minister was there.
yeah, exactly, right? And having the conversation, okay, I'll link up on LinkedIn, so on, and like just a part of doing business because like it's there are several elements to that, I think, but like there is both that okay, I've been a part of events like this before, I've done this type of thing before, I have a business with a certain level of standard quality that and partnership and establishment that these people could, or people they know or businesses they know may have benefit of in a sense, and that even if it isn't okay, I can maybe connect to some of those people, right? Know that I know ambassadors, know that I know a lot of businesses and SaaS solutions and partnership developers, everything in different sectors, right? Then okay, I have something, I know I have something of value, right? And when I have prepared myself well, when I dress well with a tailored suit and here is on style, like have a proper haircut and proper styled everything, then okay, I have that combination in check, right? For okay, why shouldn't I be confident about doing this type of thing, building those connections? Okay, now I've used 3,000-4,000 kroner of the business account, right? I need to make it count, right? Because at that point, right? Okay, when you have put money on the line, in a sense, okay, like fuck it, like you just have to do what you have to do, because that it means that you have put money on the line for your business. That means you
Invested
have to do
yourself.
something to get exactly right. So that I think is a key element there, like just getting started in a sense, like knowing that. And to go even back to what you said as well, which I think was really important about like you're not born a certain way, you kind of define your own story, you define your own future. And what was a really pivotal moment of understanding for me with that type of perspective was actually a book called Psycho Cybernetics, which goes into the kind of neuropsychology and psychology and neuropsychology of this aspect and so on, doing several studies on these types and exploring the kind of intricacies of self-image, self-belief in a sense, and how you are placing the locus of control. Are you believing that you are tied to your past, or do you believe that you have the opportunity to achieve something or to change something about yourself, about your environment, and so on? And that was so interesting for me and it's such an incredible book in a sense, if a mind-blowing book in a sense, right? For especially that I think people who are struggling with that aspect should consider reading and so on, because it's absolutely fascinating material to check out in that regard. But having that,
what's the name of that book?
Psycho-Cybernetics.
Psycho-Cybernetics, huh? Can you write it in the chat there, maybe?
Yes, I can. Let me just find Cybernetics. It's by Maxwell Maltz.
No. Yeah, it's that's it's interesting, and
Maxwell Maltz, and yeah, so absolutely incredible book. Read that a while ago, and yeah, so. Yeah, I think that is a key aspect, right? That's the first step in a sense, going from that fixed mentality over to the growth dynamics. I think this is one of the best possible books you can read about that part, to give that type of perspective. And then from there, of course, when you have understood this to some basic degree, you need to maintain it in a sense by bringing yourself into uncomfortable situation in situation where you are pushing yourself to go outside of your comfort zone, but not like in the beginning. Maybe you just like need to do some going outside the comfort zone just for the sake of going outside your comfort zone. But at one point, okay, you need to find some level to balance that with some directionality, right? With
of course.
You have a vision of what you want to achieve, then of course you have to figure out, okay, it's not just about taking a cold bath or a cold shower. So that's cool and all that has its health benefits, sure, but also for actually making like legitimate progress with the business, or with actually reaching the kind of grand goals, you need to understand, okay, what type of actions, what do I actually need to do to get there, right? And making those steps accordingly. And some of those steps may be uncomfortable, and some of those steps may also require changes in your own mentality and changes in your way of looking at the world in general, even to some extent. And for those things, it may require some more personal things, like, okay, taking like health benefits, like stuff like pushing yourself with cold showers or exercising or so on, and other things like that. But yeah, it's a challenge to find out that aspect, right? Figuring out those things. So it's a balance between, okay, both having the kind of idea that, okay, you do need to push yourself, you do need to find how to get outside your comfort zone, but also balancing that out with
handle it.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah,
because you will definitely, as an entrepreneur, get into situations that you've never been through before, and as it will probably be awkward or whatever. Maybe you know nothing about the situation you are in, but you still have to handle it. And that if you have practiced that before, that will help you a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let me see. So we've talked we've talked a little bit about the challenges as well, but can you talk more about your highs and lows in your journey as an entrepreneur, after you kind of made the decision of making that transition? What has been your highs? What has been your lows on that journey?
Yeah, if I'm gonna, I don't know where to start. If I'm gonna do when I started the drone company or right now, I think the most interesting is right now. ever since I made the decision to go to entrepreneur school to take the bachelor, I was thinking, okay, which one of my thousands ideas am I gonna test out and go through with? And then I planned it in my head. I have to do this, but this technology doesn't exist. What can I do? Okay, I have to do. Like I said, you are finding solutions. This is what I love. Oh no, nobody has done this before. Why not? Why? I'm a very curious guy. But ups and lows. But it's been okay. Yes, I have some lows also, but it's been mostly up, and that's really scary actually for now. I'm not taking that for granted. I'm really happy for all the ups I can get. But first try, because I knew I have to have like samarbeid.
Cooperation.
Yeah, cooperation. I need to have a cooperation with a company. This is a big company. It's Posten. It's the biggest mail company in Norway. And I just had to. I called them and I said, I have this idea. I need to pitch this for you, for your guys. And and a lot of days come and they said, yeah, sure, come to us. And I was there and I pitched it and they were so happy. And I said, what? Doesn't this exist from before? And I said, no, it doesn't exist. And they were really excited. And there's, yes, okay, come back next week. We can talk more about this and this and this. And I came there with all the bosses in the higher level at Posten for the IT and for the boss for that. Handles all the trade for internet trades and stuff like that. So that went really well. And I have this Africa dream also, the factory and stuff like that. And I was also looking for money with that. And then I saw this commercial for this Investors Day. It's like one times a year. There's all the biggest investors in Norway are meeting. So all the biggest investors are meeting at the same place. So I think, okay, here I have some investors. And it cost 3,500 kroner to go to come inside. And as a student, that's a big investment. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I made myself a script because they are really busy. And I only have like 10-20 seconds to treat their curiosity.
Interest. Yeah.
So I made this script. I practice. And I met this really cool guy. Older guy, and I talked about him because we were talking about the green the green shift in so and I thought told him about the factory and also this what's it called, recycle station that I also want to build there. It's really high I would say goals, But anyway, I'm just going to continue. And he said yes, he was interested. I sent him a mail also about more of this, and he was interested. And I said yes, but I just have to go. I have to finish school. I have this other company that needs to have legs before I go to Africa. So it's a lot of things. So, but he was really interested, and that really. So that was a lot of ups and the downs. I can say the first down I actually had, and that really hurt me. I don't know. But not anymore. But at that time, it really hurt me because I got rejected on this application to Innovation Norway. I just started the company. I said okay, and I gave them my case, and I got rejection because they wanted to have more data on betalingsvillighet. How is it? More data that people are willing to pay for your products. And I had a lot of, because this is completely new. Nobody has done this before, but there is someone is using how to solve their problems today. They are using another company, so I have all their data, but still not. But that actually this gave me more motivation. When someone tells me I can't do it or anything, it gives me so much more motivation. So that was a down, and of course I worked besides school. I had a full-time job, and I have full student, and I have this company on the side also. So that's a lot, and that really burned me out a little bit. And I said, no, I'm not going to go back there. I have to. So I quit my job. I get enough from the government for the stipend, the scholarship, and stuff like that. I can survive on this. So yeah, so I had a little bit burnout there, but now I'm good again, and so.
I remember when during the beginning of or the early or the first quarter of this year, right? Because it was around the April-May shift that I went kind of all in on my business in a sense that I got it registered in December, right? But then I finished my master's degree in like around June or so, and quit my job, focused fully on kind of the business from May and so on. And it was very interesting going from that previous stage, right? Okay, there was the full-time job, there was the master's degree, there was the business, right? Like all of these things like that I did like somehow at once, and then suddenly, okay, I was finished with my past job. Okay, now I don't need to use time on that. Okay, and then I was finished with masters. Okay, now I don't need to spend more time on that. Okay, what I do with this free time, right? Okay, what I do with this time I now have available, right? And that was an interesting transition for me to experience, right? Because in the beginning, when you have become accustomed to that kind of way of living, and then you're going over to a completely different state. Okay, what I do now, right? What I do with this, and I eventually, of course, I figured out as an entrepreneur that, okay, I can use this time to focus more on the business and so on. And eventually I did. But yeah, that was it's an interesting transition there, right? And it means that you have and I think that is something that a lot of people can consider as well, that if you have that type of background and like that means you have a proven experience that, okay, you do maybe have the interest to work a little harder than the rest of people because you are willing to do the school and the school and 9 to 5 and side hustle or business at the same time, and you're excited about doing a lot of different things, you have a lot of interest and so on, and that may be a key, maybe a signal and characteristic that, okay, maybe you are kind of the entrepreneurial type in a sense, and but going from that over to focusing on myself, of course it meant that I had to take on a much higher degree of financial risk, right? Because in my case and our case in the beginning, we weren't a product focused business, right? We were a service based consulting business in a sense, and that means it's a lot more difficult, or if not impossible, to get funding and from these public sources to a large degree. And so that meant, okay, I have to just build on my savings account in a sense. Unfortunately, okay, over the last year when I did work with a pretty good salary, it saved some money, and that meant, okay, I have at least enough to get by the end of the year, and I'm not insolvent yet. So that's at least a good thing. Okay, I haven't completely emptied my savings account just yet. I'm still in business, and I think that's a good thing. And but it also means that, okay, if you're going to go in for something like this type of thing, you either it's important to consider that element as well. Okay, do you have either saved up enough money to have this kind of preparation period before that you can work up before it takes off or before it makes money, or do you have some interested investors or some way to get funding from these interested peoples, or is there a side hustle or something that you can do beside your full-time job that you can kind of actually get paying or get that willingness to pay before you make that transition over from your 9 to 5, because I think that one of those cases need to apply if you are going to go in for it, in a sense, right? If you are not either that you have some savings to build on, or you don't have investors, then okay, this is going to be tough, right? Because it's going to take a while, and like for startups, liquidity is the oxygen, you run on, right? So preferably you want to have something to build on that it will take a while to get off the ground. And then if you if the viewers or for other people who are considering this type of stuff, okay, maybe if you don't have that level either from investors who are interested in becoming a share owner of this, who are willing to supply you with capital, or you have a savings account that at least will allow you maybe at least 6 to 12 months of doing that without any other source of income, then okay, maybe just start this on testing this out and researching, doing some preparation while you have a job in addition, and then eventually either you may save some money from that job if it's possible. In some cases, unfortunately, it isn't possible for some people who are living paycheck to paycheck, but as much as possible, do some saving, do some experimentation with the idea, check the willingness to pay. How do you actually position yourself differently in the market based on what you are focused on providing there? I think that is like, based on my experience, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. Because it costs money, and as I say, you have an organization that gives you, but to make a good case, you need money also. And as I said, and you have to save, and if you only can save like 3,000 kroners or 4 or something a month, then it's going to take a while before you can do. Like for me, I just went all in right away. I had the two shitty cars, but I just sold them, and I had all my savings. I just put everything into my company, and I was just okay. So now I just have to work and build up again, and that went. So that transition is, like you said, is really hard, and you have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to take some risks. You have to just sometimes believe in yourself and believe in your product. And if you and the good thing about this, many people say, oh, but what if you are failing? Oh, if you're failing, you can be so much in debt or what anything. But that experience you have there, that there's no school in the world that can teach you that. And if it costs you 10 million kroners in debt, then that's experience is someone that nobody else has that same. It has to cost them $10 million for that experience. So you are 10 million in debt, but you have an experience worth that. So you know that next time you are gonna build something, or again, you know what not to do. So failure, you shouldn't really be afraid of that. You are going to the transition to be an entrepreneur. Don't be afraid to fail. You should actually, as an entrepreneur, you want to fail as much as possible, but in the lowest risks, of course. That like for me, if I make a product or something like that, I want people to only tell me the bad things about the products, because then I know how to tweak it and make it better. And that's how it is with us also. We have to experience some of that. So don't be afraid of that. And of course, 10 million kroners is a lot of money. But I think that if you already manage to collect the 10 million kroners or whatever, you can do it again. And don't be afraid to ruin your life, because you always have. It's very cliche said again. And here I'm saying, as a rookie in entrepreneurship, I haven't done this for 20 years, 30 years yet. So maybe, I'm just talking out of my ass, but yeah.
But I think that there are important points we're going over here, because I saw I think it was a few months ago I saw a story on LinkedIn. I think she was a business advisor or a business coach or so on, and she told a story about this one person. There was a person who was broke and kind of thought about, okay, maybe I'll start a startup just to get funding, just to get like some money from investors and so on. Like that is a bad idea for a number of reasons, right? Okay, you're already broke. You already don't have money. You're already broke, and you're just trying to build a startup to get money, to get out of your broke situation. Okay, either you need to have a really good product or solution or something that investors will be interested in to actually give you that money, or you have to have money from before to bootstrap, like I did, in a sense, to build something up. Right, like it's I think that some people who haven't gone through the experience that we are doing have this kind of like fantasy, in a sense, about like what it means to build something in the startup space, that like, okay, everyone seems to get funding, everyone seems to just get money from whatever. Right, like, okay, it's not really that simple in practice, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. Yeah.
So let's move on. Okay, one thing I would like to hear from you is more. Okay, we have already talked a lot about the challenges. We talked some of the ups and downs. So what are some? Do you want to share some more of the key lessons you've learned that you want to share with as other kind of aspiring entrepreneurs, in a sense, those who want to take that step or are thinking of taking that step?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything I learn in life that makes me happy, and everything I'm giving that knowledge to all of my friends, and hey, this is so great, you have to do this and that. But what I will say to people out there, maybe that, yeah, probably were wondering if you want to be an entrepreneur and stuff like that. The main tips, you have to know yourself. You have to be confident in yourself. You know, if you're, well, yeah, I think you have to do that to really take big decisions. You know, many people can think, yeah, I want to just do hiking for the rest of my life, and stuff like that. And yeah, okay, do that, but then you have to take the consequences for that also. It's going to be hard weather, and you know, we have to like that also, you know. But you know, this, yeah, I already told it before, but I think that actually is so important, is to visualize yourself in your perfect situation in life. And it's a little bit about manifestation also, because what you have in your mind is what you are going to absorb and, you know, utstråle. Yeah, that's how you're going to shine also, you know. So and I believe in, because I have really high goals, but okay, really high goals. Like, I'm gonna build a recycle station, a factory in Africa. I'm gonna kill starvation in the biggest slum in Africa. You know. But okay, so what? And then it's big. Okay, how can you do that? So then you have to chop it down to the first thing you have to do. What's the first thing you have to do? Okay, maybe write it down. Write down what you have in your phone. Write it down. Okay, that's the first step. Now you have your dream in front of you, in a paper, in a physical form. First physical form. And then, okay, what next you have to do? Maybe take a phone call to push some numbers. That's not hard. You know, okay, you have to prepare for that meeting, but it's not so hard to comparing to building a whole factory and stuff like that. You know? So if you just break it down to the minimums, what you have to do, it's actually not that hard. And it's the same. It's easy as being a carpenter or whatever you want to be. I remember when I was in high school and they asked me, okay, what do you want to be? And then everybody we was want to be electricians and bricklayers, and that's like the options we had. And we had this form, and we had just like 10 classes or 10 stuff to pick from, or you have to study a higher school. But okay, I choose the construction company, the construction to be actually a bricklayer. But I took the steps to do that. I applied for that. I got in. I was finished school. I applied for a job as a bricklayer, and suddenly my dream as a bricklayer when I was 16 came true when I was 19. So it's all about the steps. So I have a vision. I have a tunnel vision. I'm going there, and I have to do the small steps to come there. And I know I'm going to do that. And as I said, it's been a little bit too scary, too easy. The first investor I talked about, he was really interested about this, and then we have some correspondence back and forth. And I know that I'm gonna contact more with him. I'm looking for this. I just got a new. And this is, I don't know if it's manifestation or whatever. But one time I was at the bar, and I met a guy from Nigeria. He's born in Norway, but but he's traveled a lot from Africa and do some trades here and there. So, but suddenly he had a recycle station project ready. With the factory plannings and everything, and I watched it, and I just okay. So we had to talk, and we talked, and so now we and him are gonna work together with that. So it's something about that. What you are thinking, it's coming back to you somehow, and you have to do also actions through that, through thinking, not just to sit in your sofa and don't go out. Then nothing's gonna happen. So that's the tip as an entrepreneur. Do those things.
Exactly. I think it's important to share your goals for those types of reasons as well. What you generally see in some kind of entrepreneurial interested forums on places like Twitter and so on is that they have this kind of mentality that okay, don't share your goals because then it's undeserved dopamine and so on because you haven't achieved those things. You give yourself the impression that you have achieved those, and okay, it may make a certain degree of theoretical sense for those who don't have the discipline and don't have the motivation to actually go beyond just the social accepts of having some kind of vision or goals. But those who are interested and actually have a vision of achieving these things in practice, okay, it's going to be much more difficult for you to do it alone, especially if it's a major goal you're going for. You're going to need some help on the way, right? And then you need to share out, okay, what you actually want to do, right? And then following as Roger Helston and several other of the members or speakers of the NIA conference talked about spreading love, spreading energy and good engagement, right? That you have this vision, you want to make it happen and make a difference in people's lives. And then other people who also have that passion, also have that interest, they are saying, yes, I want to do this too. Exactly. And then you have that interest, you have maybe some experience that they don't have, but they have the money or they have something that you don't and so on, and you can work together and so on to make that stuff happen for the both of you and for the benefit of the both of you. And that's what I think is so important about sharing your goals, putting your goals out there, making them known in a sense, but also sticking to your word, like your word as a man, your word as an honorary person, right? That, okay, this is what I've said I'm going to do. Okay, I'm actually going to do it. Okay, it won't be easy, but I'll go through this anyways and do my best to actually make this happen, right? And build up the partnership, build up the connection that needs to be, and make this vision and values happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's, well said.
Yeah, and I also like what you said about this, that you need to be an entrepreneur, you also need to understand yourself. You need to know yourself on real deep level. And what also motivated me, or to kind of one inspiration I had before I made that transition was Dan Coe. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dan Coe, but one of the kind of leading figures on the personal branding space, and like the kind of one man entrepreneur in a sense, and he ended up like building like several millions or multi-million in just writing, like as one man business, right? And but what his kind of mentality was around this was that having your own business is kind of the next step of personal development, right? That okay, you start with personal development as the first stage, and then when you have reached a certain transition by understanding yourself and have a good level at personal development, then you go over to the business level in a sense. And that was kind of what interested me and inspired me to go over to the entrepreneurship part as well, because I realized that like there are like you have when you have come to a certain threshold, okay, then it may be relevant for you if you are of that wired that way, that you need to have something that you're doing for yourself, and that entrepreneurship inspires you in that sense. You want to achieve something more, and I felt that especially myself, because like I had that kind of strong introverted background, right? Like where I was very kind of isolated and was very like have that background in general, right? And that meant, okay, what is required to get past that type of background, right? Having it tying it back to this kind of psycho-cybernetics issue, that you're not tied to your past, but what is required to actually shift yourself out of that past? It's going to require some effort. It's going to require some discomfort, right? And for me, that was another part of why entrepreneurship was important for me on a personal level. Not just that, okay, I want to be rich, okay, maybe it would be cool to have some cars or so on, whatever, right? Okay, but it's not just about the flashy things that inspired me and interested me. It was also that I felt I had to go through that and go through the challenges involved in that, and actually get myself out there properly. And I wouldn't have gotten those types of challenges and experience that would have made me grow as much as I have at to this point if I was just staying in that past job, even if that past job meant I could get a pretty good salary, go to a few events once in a while, because it didn't require me to push myself as much as running my own business.
Yeah, and really, I have to take my hat for you. You are so young, and you have really figure it out in the age that you are. As we talked before, and as we talk now, so I'm 40 years old. I don't look like that, so that's good for me like that. But I'm 40 years old, and I started to really believe in myself for like 6 years or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Then I will, and you have done that now. So that means you have and you are so young, and you have a credible future in front of you, and you have done so much already. And and I really hope that people in your generations feel inspired with you. And that's what I'm maybe also gonna say, that I don't know if it's your generation or the younger generation, but many people are living in a very protected environment, like from their parents from they were
Yeah.
very young, and
Yeah.
and they really can't handle hardship, for example,
Yeah.
like any kind, even if you are. Yeah, like I had some colleagues that I told them that they have to do their task a little bit differently,
Yeah.
of course in a professional manner and not yelling or whatever, but they took it as a critic, and the whole day was ruined. And
Yeah.
but you are an evidence of the opposites, and I really hope that your generation can look at you and listen to this podcast, and I hope that it's something that we say can do something for you, that have a little light bulb up your head, and maybe I should actually take one chance on myself
Yeah.
on this. You know, you
Mm,
only live once, and the life is so short. And I am 40 years old, and like I said, my plans, they are taking time. So I know
mm,
that I'm gonna do this until I die, because
mm,
you know, when I'm retired, maybe 60 years old, maybe all of these plans have, yeah, of course, then everything is built and everything, but then
mm,
finished with everything, maybe, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. And if you want, and if you want to, like, okay, fuck up something in your life, do it while you're young, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Don't do when you are old, because then
Mm,
you have no time to catch up. So do your mistakes now when
mm,
you're young. Take a leap on yourself, you know.
mm,
So that's the best time to do it, in your 20s.
mm,
Yeah, and you will have an amazing life. Your days will be much more different than people who are just stamping in and out to work. And
mm,
you know, you will have so much more content in your life, and so
mm.
much more to talk about. And yeah, so,
Yeah, I really appreciate all of that, and it's interesting what you're saying about the current or like the new generations as well, with millennials and Gen Z and so on. Because I read a book a few years ago by this American psychologist, Jonathan Haidt. He had this book called "The Coddling of the American Mind," and I think like it's not just relevant for understanding to a large degree what's happening in the United States, but also a large degree in the world in general as well. Like, how were these kids who are now growing up in the Gen Z and millennial environment, how were their upbringing kind of affecting how they're turning out now? How these things that are happening in the universities, especially in American universities and so on, happening with a sense of entitlement and sense of um, like uninformed activism to a large degree, also in many cases. What is kind of fueling that level of entitlement, in a sense? And so I recommend those who are interested in those types of things, or like especially parents who are or upcoming parents, to consider those type of things. That's relevant, really interesting and relevant book to read in our age, to consider, okay, how is this type of parenting, or how this type of upbringing affecting
mm,
the sense of entitlement and a sense of growth in these people? Because when you are just letting the kids do what they want, letting people do what they want, that's the kind of worldview they will have when they come out to grow up as well, right? They will think that, okay, the world will give them stuff, the world will like adapt, the universe will adapt to their own the things they want, in a sense. They don't have to work for it, they just get the stuff that they want, in a sense. And like, that's the perfect transition to like and of course people go to socialism in that case, right? Because that's the way they've been brought up, right? Okay, the parents provide for them with everything they want, and they are entitled to get this and this. Okay, when they grow up, okay, the parents won't give them stuff, so then it's the government's job to give them stuff, right? And so I think those are interesting trends in our society as well there. And there was also an interesting part of yesterday's conference as well, because there was one there who like or proclaimed Gen Z expert, in a sense, brought up some interesting points that in the 2010s there were all these kind of self-development books kind of focused on awareness of the problem, awareness of like of this and that. But 2020s, okay, this is time for action, right? And like, I draw that parallel to many of the other topics that were brought up during the debates or discussions as well, that okay, this issue of what is false and what is true, like what are some disinformation, or what is actually true, what you read in the media or on social media and
yeah,
so on, in traditional new media and so on. There's so
canceling
difficult.
culture also.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
What you
difficult to
can
know
say.
what is true and what is not true anymore. And then when we have these new generations who are focused on action, focused on activism, when there is a information kind, or when there's so much white noise, and where there's so much ambiguity when it comes to a lot of the information that is coming out, that is a really dangerous thing, dangerous combination to have, right? Because then you have all of these activists who are who are acting seriously on false information or very misleading information to a large degree, who are causing problems in society and for other people, for themselves, and so on. So
and preventing people to think freely.
yeah, exactly. Not least of all, right? That's such an important element as well, right? People that you think that your ideas are so important that they can't be challenged, in a sense, right? That it's, you have to have your own safe space. You can't be challenged for your own beliefs, your own information. You can say your own stuff, your own ideas, your own thing, that what you mean. But anyone who may have any different opinions or thoughts, or may challenge you or anything of what you're saying, no, that is challenging, or no, that is dangerous speech, that is hateful speech, and so on. And that is a very, very dangerous situation to come in as a society in general. And that comes to the threat of freedom of speech and all these other things, because then you can't really have a civilized society without freedom of speech, in a sense, because then, okay, you can't clash on ideas, then you clash physically, right? Because you have different, like, everyone has their own wiring, everyone has their own self-interest, everyone has their own opinions, and so on. But it's freedom of speech that allows you to kind of hash those things out. And that if I'm making a claim which doesn't really make sense or is completely true or so on, then you can say that, okay, that doesn't really make sense, and I can say, okay, did that make sense? Right? Okay, maybe it didn't make sense. Okay, what is your idea? What do you think? Right? Or if I make a claim about, for instance, something historical about China or Norwegian history or so on, and you think, no, I read this book so and so on, and it was actually those and those years, and it was this and this that happened, right? Okay, interesting, and maybe and then you hold that kind of type of freedom of speech also allows you to hold each other accountable in a sense as well, that you can actually allow to check each other for, okay, do you actually know what you're talking about? Do you actually speak based on uninformed basis? And that is all the more important when we have all this white noise of information, so much information available everywhere, that we need to have some discussions, right? We need to hold each other accountable for the type of information that we consume, the type of information we share with each other, and so on. And that without that, then we're going to be run over with the type of information. And if you are not programming yourself, you are being programmed by someone else. And who then are programming you to think the way that you are thinking? That's the big question in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I trying to look in the crystal ball, and in the future, and I think I think we just seen the start of it. It's going to be so much more. And imagine the younger generations, maybe those who are like 10 and 15 and stuff like that, they are been really indoctrinated, probably with the cancel culture, what you can say or not say. Already I think they have been taught what to think. What's okay to think and not to think. And so the future is going to be when those kids are going to run this country or have high positions in some companies. How the future is going to be, and we will be like the older generations that are crazy to think what we think or whatever. That's just like the old how the old. How you say that?
Generation or what?
Yeah, the old way of thinking that
Oh,
we have,
yeah.
that we are the old way of thinking, and the counseling culture and the woke, and how you have to do this and that. That's the new way of thinking. So we will be updated as well. But well, so let's hope we will have more entrepreneurs like Musk that buys its freedom of speech back. So
Hmm.
excited.
Yeah. It will be an interesting time coming up, but it's also interesting to see that trend between weak men creates hard times creates strong men, and strong men creates good times, right? And we may be in that transition period where a lot of people are starting to push a little bit back, right? That we are getting into some bad times in many places, like in Norway, like in or in the United States, and so on. And that means pushback, right? Okay, now we need to step up. Now we need to make a difference, right? Because this isn't working anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
and what I like noticed, especially with this presidential campaign in America,
Mm.
how actually one-sided the journalism was on.
Mm.
It's only like they were only just talking about like the one side. Okay, let's say Trump. There's no
Mm.
one that can deny that it was only bad things about Trump, and
Yeah.
I was just okay, and I was really mad about Trump because
Mm.
the newspaper made me mad on him. And then I just started to see the interviews myself with the
Mm.
opponent, Harris, for example, and I said, "What?
Yeah.
The things she was saying, I was
Yeah.
just, why don't the Norwegian newspapers tell about this? This
Exactly.
is so crazy. So,
But
and I was looking more into that, and I was using YouTube. With people, oh, you're watching, oh, you're watching YouTube. You're getting information from YouTube. Hey, trust me, the information from YouTube is much more reliable than this gossip newspaper
mm,
on VG, for example. Because that's how it is now. It's only clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. It doesn't have any real news value. And as a
mm,
journalist, I think you should actually cover both sides of the case and let the reader decide
mm,
what's right or what's wrong. But
yeah.
no, the journalism today, they are telling us what's wrong, and telling us who to vote for or
Mm,
not. So this is something new.
mm.
Maybe it's been something before, and I haven't noticed this before, but this is like taking a little bit on another level right now, just only one time. Oh, nå ble det borte. What happened? What happened? Okay, alt, everything crashed. I'm not sure if I'm still live, if it's only me here. Everything crashed at Stefan's end. I'm just hoping that we didn't lose this recording. That will be very sad. Okay, nå stopper vi der. All right. Yeah. I'm still not sure if I'm just talking to myself here or whatever, but Stefan had to restart his computer. And I don't dare to go out from this to close this just in case we lose this take. It will be very sad. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually still live, so that's good at least. So it didn't affect the stream in that regard. It's was suddenly my browser was like nope, and then closed out basically everything. I think I think I heard some thunder and stuff. It may be related to something about that. I'm not sure exactly the details, but it was weird. But yeah, where were we in the discussion? Do you remember kind of
Yeah,
what?
yeah. We're talking about the journalism and stuff like that, and that we
Yeah.
should be concerned that if the media only is serving us one way of
Mm,
the truth or what you say, then we should be
yeah.
a little bit concerned that okay, well, what is
Mm,
their motto or how to do
yeah.
that? So I'm really missing
Mm,
a newspaper that's telling us both sides of the case that makes
yeah.
us decide ourselves, because now,
Mm,
like you said, we have to look other places, and
yeah.
for me to really make a decision and how which, like especially in this presidential thing, I started
Mm,
to watch the Congress, and
yeah.
YouTube has live streamed the Congress meetings, and they are like 5-6 hours
Mm,
long, and they are so
yeah.
excited because there's so many weird stuff happening in America. It's like 800,000 kids disappearing every year through
Mm,
the government system. They have the kids
mm,
in their hands, and they're giving their way to some labors and to some other stuff. Actually, imagine
mm,
that the
yeah.
the government is doing that to some
Mm,
farmers, and they disappear 800,000 kids, for example. It's
mm,
many things, and this makes me like, oh, really? And the newspapers are not talking about that. So yeah, I have a much better source watching YouTube
yeah.
than actually reading the mainstream
Mm,
media that we have today. I will say
yeah.
so.
And what is interesting when seeing like what is interesting is to see the different media picture or the like media environment in the United States to Norway, right? Because I think a lot of especially Norwegians under or overestimates the similarities between these two different countries, both on culture and on their political environment and so on. Because what is happening in the United States, in a sense, is that you have these two different bubbles, right? You have the media on the right side and you have the media on the left side, but you know what you're getting, right? You
Mm,
know, you know that you're either getting left wing
yeah,
bias or the right wing bias. But
yeah.
what is interesting is that when it comes to foreign reporting on what is happening in places like the United States, when that is the case, is that the what is actually coming through to the media in Norway, for instance, is that when some of these news publications are kind of focused that okay, we are aligning ourselves with the left-wing media, for instance, because there are these two different bubbles you need to kind of choose from where you get the information from in the United States and so on.
Yeah.
Then when they are left choosing from the left-wing bubble, okay, you aren't getting the right information when you are hearing from information from the United States when looking at the local Norwegian reporting in a lot of cases. And I think that is a really interesting phenomenon and something that is a little bit concerning as well when it comes to staying updated on these events in other places as well, like especially in such global powers like the United States.
So I will see. We'll see what the future brings if there's some. But I think so. I think people will get tired of like the same type of news stream that we have, and I hope so. And that's how entrepreneurship comes. By people who are tired of the today's solutions and tweaking it and upgrading it and doing it better. So I'm a very optimistic guy actually, more than ever. So I have high hopes for everything, for the cancel culture and the media, and I know myself that I'm not gonna get influenced by this gossip news anymore.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to this kind of lifestyle of being an entrepreneur, because we want to kind of look at how is it to kind of build a kind of social relationship, personal relationship, and so on, when balancing that with being an entrepreneur compared to working in a 9 to 5 in a sense. Does being an entrepreneur mean sacrificing social life or personal relationships, or what has your experiences been in that regard?
Yeah. And this is yes. I'm 40 years old, and I've been through so many situations that I already know before what's good for me or not. And when I started school, and I knew that school was not my favorite topic from before, so I was a little curious what I'm gonna learn and whatever. I was afraid that this is gonna be hard, so I gave myself I gave myself forbud. I prohibited myself to have a girlfriend, for example. I was said, no, now I have to invest all the time in myself. I have to get my life together and build it up before I invite a girl in my life. So that's like one of the things that I told myself that I have to do as an entrepreneur, and like the social life. I tried, of course, I couldn't just help it. I tried, and then my thoughts was occupying on completely other stuff than my actually work and my future and what I really actually want. So, and the social life, there's now I actually started working again, because as with 1 year with only to survive on the stipend it's not, and my company has bills also, so I just had to start working again. So now I have no social life, but I didn't have it even before that. But you have to. But luckily, I'm confident in my friends. I have them since I was young, so they understand me and they root for me, and so they know that I say no to a lot. Luckily, I remember when I was in the 20s, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to, I didn't want to miss anything, and I said yes to everything and stuff like that. So I think that helps me a lot. Now it's easier to say no to go to concerts or to go to cabins or something like that, because I have experienced it, and I already know it, and I know what's more important, and that's my future. You only I say this a lot, but you only pee on it's like peeing on yourself in the cold. To go to too many of those social activities instead of doing the work for your future. It's going to help there and then, but after you have more work to do, and it's going to And as an entrepreneur, yes, motivation. You don't have to always have motivation, but it helps a lot. Motivation just comes and goes, and don't wait until you have motivation to work. That's where your passion and motivation for me is two completely different things. So passion is more like it's what you like to do. Motivation, that's how you actually feel that day, or your energy. So you have to when don't wait yourself to have motivation. That's yeah.
What do you think the difference is between having passion and discipline? Do you need discipline if you have passion? And kind of what is the relationship between these?
Great questions. I love your questions, man. Of course, discipline. Well, yeah. I get disciplined about my passion. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so good disciplined in that. Like maybe, okay, I have to clean my house every day, for example, and stuff like that. Also, that kind of discipline. But when it comes to this, to what I'm doing, I'm working with and stuff like that, then my passion is driving my discipline. But of course, I'm not a perfect guy, and if I have one day when I have done nothing, I feel so bad about myself. Because if I'm just watching, and I can scroll through YouTube or whatever, and I love watching people tent. I can watch that for hours, and I'm just thinking, what? I'm watching this. I'm just watching a guy making a spoon out of wood instead of working on my own company. Like, those days are a lot sometimes, and that kills the motivation. So and that's where like I know that my discipline must be some harder, but I'm I'm doing the tasks, I'm delivering all the tasks in the right time, and stuff like that. So but I'm sometimes just pushing the tasks a little bit after, and that gives me so how you say, I get really depressed actually when I have those days when I'm not doing anything. So that's also, as an entrepreneur, everything is on you. No one is doing this for you. So if you have a day off, your whole future, your whole everything has a day off. So it has a lot of consequences in how you think as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely, but what I've seen as well is that it depends also a lot on how you're finding the right balance as well, on what you're actually doing when you are taking time off. In a sense, I noticed that myself when I had Twitter on my phone, when I had YouTube on my phone, and so on. It will take a lot of time, and like it's not just what is also important to note about like using your time like that is that it's not just your time it affects, it's also the kind of information you're receiving as well, and the kind of way it's developing and affecting your mentality in a sense. Okay, what are you just doom scrolling in a sense? Are you just watching stuff and like it's affecting you in some sort of way? And I realized that okay, this isn't actually a positive impact on me, so I just deleted it from my phone. Okay, what can I do instead? Okay, I can do some reading on some books I have. I can do and even just okay, I can do some reading, I can do some work maybe outside. Okay, what do I do outside of that? Okay, I may play some chess, I may watch a bit of Netflix and so on. But I realized that it's not or that when I'm freeing myself from that type of influence, from this kind of pointless scrolling and so on YouTube or Twitter and so on, it doesn't matter that I may spend an evening or most of a week or most of a day on a weekend, for instance, on like doing chess or reading or so on. That doesn't concretely translate to direct work on my business in some cases, but that okay, if I find the right habits there that energizes me, okay, the next day, okay, it's back to work, 30 minutes, all the work is done, right? When if you are finding those types of habits that actually energizes you, actually refreshes you, then the kind of work you are worried about, the kind of work, okay, this work is coming up, that seems very big, okay, maybe it isn't so big after all. Maybe it's just that you haven't actually taken your brain, like giving your brain some time to fill back up again, and that this can actually be done in 15-30 minutes
Yeah.
if you are actually just feeling like getting some proper
Turn off
rest.
your phone and just do it, Yeah.
Exactly. If you're getting some proper rest today, and like if you are feeling like, okay, now, okay, it isn't an immediate priority, like, okay, I can do some I can just take some time to just get my brain off things, right, and to just relax a little bit, and then, but then if when you do that, I noticed that in a lot of cases myself, okay, now, like, after, for instance, yesterday, after a long event, right, okay, now I'm going to relax, okay, and I'm watching an episode on Netflix or so on, okay, after that episode I might be like, okay, now I've watched this, okay, I've had a good time, okay, now I'm making a thumbnail, now I'm setting this up on StreamYard and YouTube and everything, okay, now I'm doing this and this, because that's how I work, right, okay, I'm taking some time to kind of freshen my mind from everything that has happened today, getting some time to relax, just enjoy myself a bit, and then it's back to work. That's the way I work, at least, and that's what comes back to your statement about understanding yourself, understanding how
What
you work,
works for you and how
what
you.
works for you, because that's an individual matter, and
Yeah.
I think that's a really crucial part of actually finding the right balance, in a sense, and not working yourself out, or burning yourself out when you are making the decision as an entrepreneur, because you are going to face kind of expectations in some, at least in some entrepreneurial circles, that think that, okay, you do need to work 10 to 12 hours a day, right? But the truth is, 10 to 12, like 10 and 12 or 10 hours can mean the exact same as 3 hours,
Yeah.
if
Exactly.
depending on what results are actually being done,
Yeah.
right? And if you're actually being smart about the way you're working and the way you're balancing your work and your habits outside of your work, then you can do a lot better stuff with less time, and you will find, I think that's the way to find a lot more passion and purpose as an entrepreneur than just working yourself out to death, because, okay,
Yeah.
you're doing this as a marathon, right? And if you are running it as a 60 meters run, and you're going to do that for the whole 42 kilometers, that's never going to end up well.
No, exactly, and actually, what helped me with my discipline is to make a list. Make a list on what I'm going to do tomorrow. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
going to call this. I'm going to send this mail. I'm going to create this
yeah.
and that. And when you have, and that's it's so much easier to just follow a list and to just wipe it out. And
Did you set up on? I recommended ClickUp when we met at NIAC. Did you try get the chance to try that out yet?
no, I'm using Notion,
Okay.
I really want to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, you told me that.
Mm.
What is the name of the
ClickUp.
program again?
So it's ClickUp.
Yeah, click out.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of like, you'll get everything you need for the free version. Probably it's you get a long way just with the free version there. So yeah,
Yeah,
I totally
and
recommend it.
you need to have tools like that,
Mm.
especially if I know that I can in some ways not be disciplined, and I
Mm.
know that's my fault, and that's where I have to tweak, and then I know that the
Mm.
lists are the answer to that.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's also some tricks that you find on
Mm.
along the way, and
Yeah.
because I think we are our worst critics, and we have to do
Mm.
that, be that as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. We thought, okay, today we have that discussion with yourself every
Mm.
day. Actually, my aunt told me this, and she's actually been my biggest inspiration also.
Mm.
But she told me that you have to. Oh shit! Now I lost my my thread again.
Mm.
Oh, so what was my point again?
That's a good
Shit! I
question.
just lost it.
Yeah, but that's all right. I want to bring it back to this issue of kind of social stuff and relationships and so on. So I think, like, what do you think are some of, like, what are some of your reflections about the differences in how kind of male and female entrepreneurs experience the social dynamics of kind of balancing like career, building a business, so on, and balancing relationship differently from your understanding so far?
The difference with or how the entrepreneurial environment is for women, you mean?
About
Comparing to men, or
in a sense, yeah. Or like, what are the social expectations? What are the kind of balances you need to make in terms of, okay, are you going to go all in on your career or building a business or so on, or are you going to be out there in social environments or so on? Are you going to get a partner or whatever? And what are the kind of expectations around those types of things? I'm going to have another podcast with Nacha and a few of her female friends as well about discussing these things from a female perspective as well. So that's why we want to have a bit from a male perspective, in a sense, about what are some of the considerations around this topic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I haven't thought about it that much, but I always get, every time I hear about a woman that is starting herself, or I hear a woman talking about their success stories and stuff like that, I know that many of them had maybe a harder start than us men, maybe because of they are women. Maybe there are men there that don't trust women to take some hard decisions, for example. I don't know if that's I think that is a thing, but for me, I would love to work with women entrepreneurs, because men and women are different in how we think. Women's are more analytics and stuff like that, and we men, we can just we are not so big thinkers, we are just more doers. And so I know that maybe that would be a good partner to have in a company that can see things differently than me. That's really important in a company. So no, I see. I haven't heard. I have talked to a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I know that they are very successful. But they haven't told me about. Well, they told me about like struggles and stuff, but that's like the same as we men go through.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What I want to talk about as well, because like I have had a pretty similar mentality as you, in a sense that I need to wait with getting a partner, or focus, like I need to focus on myself now, I need to focus on business now, and so on, until this actually takes off and something comes out of this. But what was interesting is that Nasha, the female friend of mine, actually challenged me on that. Is that, okay, if you are going to wait until you have already made it with getting a partner, how will you then know if she's actually there for you or for your money, in a sense, or for like what you have built up, right? So like what she's actually said on that point was that, okay, it's in your upcoming phase that is the best time, because then you know that, okay, she is in it with you and are willing to is this the type of woman who are willing and able to kind of support you and to actually bring you better onto this journey. So that's what I want to challenge you a bit on as well, like what you think around that type of perspective here.
Yeah, and that's actually funny, because I told myself that I have prohibited myself to not date. But I actually, and that's how I found. In the very beginning, I dated, and in the first, I told them at the first date, I just told them right away, I'm moving to Kenya, and I'm looking for a woman who can join me there. And and people who has even never been to Africa and only heard stories, they think it's dangerous and and they have poor conditions and stuff like that. So So nobody called back. so but that's a good thing, and I also
Yeah.
write it on my Tinder profile that
Mm.
okay, just to eliminate 99% of the matches I get, I'm moving to Africa, so if you want to join me there, let's talk more.
Yeah.
So, and I know if I meet a woman, because of course, women in life, you have to have that a
Mm.
partnership.
Yeah.
It's you and your partner against the world.
Mm.
So, and I always had this quote that I said: "With the right woman, the sky is the limit."
Mm.
If you have a woman that shares your vision, if you have a partner that shares your vision, and you are struggling, or you want to go there together, there's
Mm.
nothing stopping you. But if
Mm.
you have a partner that says, is that a little bit dangerous? No, can't we do a little bit more safer way? Or that
Mm.
if you have a partner that don't like to go out of their comfort zone and stuff like that,
Mm.
then you will have a break. And
Yeah.
and of course,
Mm.
I don't know. I know that maybe I will find a woman and she will be some kind of a break or whatever in some kind of way, because
Mm.
you cannot never find. I don't want to find a person that was 100% equal as me. We have to fill up each other like that.
Mm.
But as an entrepreneur, your woman, your girlfriend,
Mm.
has a lot to do with your success, because that's
Yeah.
how it doesn't. It doesn't have to be about your girlfriend, but all the people that you have in your life, your friends, even can also be a break from going through your goals.
Mm.
Or you also have to have friends around you that's cheering for you, and that helps you, and yeah, so that
Mm.
understands the way that you're going. So
Yeah.
it's the same way, like friends, girlfriend, they all
Mm.
have to be some kind of a
Mm.
support to make it.
What do you think are some of the best way to test for that compatibility in the beginning stages when you're entering those type of social discussions, or when getting in contact with other with new people of the other gender?
Yeah, to test if they are the right people for you.
Yeah. How?
Actually, then I will go back to the stomach feeling. Have you
Mm.
ever noticed that if you meet someone and you just shake their hand, you haven't even said a word, but your stomach is telling you, go stay away from this guy or this girl or this person, that, or just this, no, we are not, we don't have any that much things to talk
Yeah.
about. Have you ever experienced that you just meet a guy you haven't talked to, and your stomach is telling you, there's something sketchy with this guy?
I think the right term in English is gut feeling.
Gut feel, yeah, your
Gut feeling.
stomach, gut
Yeah.
feel, exactly,
Mm.
gut feeling.
Yeah. Gut feeling.
So again, follow your gut feeling. It's
Mm.
so many times
Yeah.
that you have a gut feeling that something's going to happen, and you didn't follow your gut
Mm.
feeling, and then that thing happened.
Mm.
Many people can relate to that.
Mm.
So really, and I have learned to do that actually now.
Mm.
So yeah, so I'm doing
Mm.
that, and I did a cleanup on Facebook. I just,
Mm.
which people am I talking to?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not so known many, and they are not
Mm.
even in my life. This is people
Yeah.
I grew up with or whatever,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
and you have to take those decisions, that which people do you really want to have in your life, and
Yeah.
how important is your dream for you.
Mm.
How important is it for you to actually achieve your dreams?
Mm.
And it is, if someone, maybe your best friend,
Mm.
is bringing you down, or taking you to parties or whatever, just everything to distract you from doing the work that you should do, you
Mm.
should just cut him out, and just
Mm.
not just completely be fight or whatever, and just
Yeah.
and bring the people in your life that has the same desire as you. Yeah,
Mm.
that's is and as a grown up, you should do that. You
Yeah.
should not hang on to your
Mm.
childhood friends or
Yeah.
whatever. You should look forward, and yeah.
I know one thing that I think we've talked about Justin Waller, the construction mogul in the United States before. He what he has stated in that regard, he has gotten quite a bit of critique for it. But what he's saying is basically that, okay, if we're not making money together, we're not hanging out together, right? And it sounds harsh, right? And he has gotten a bit of critique for it, but it also makes sense in the sense that, okay, that is his lifestyle, right? Okay, he is entrepreneur, full stop, right? He has to focus on making this stuff work. He is in the 7-figure, 8-figure type of business, and that means a certain type of lifestyle where he can't just mess around and so on, unless it is with other people who are doing similar things, right? The reason that he is hanging out with the Tate brothers, for instance, okay, they are making money in other ways, and they are working together on things that are making money together, and then that means they can have fun and go out in clubs in Dubai and New York and Miami and all the places, and when you are at that point where you hang out with those with the right people in a sense, and hang out and know who you are working with and who you're hanging out with, that's another point, right? Because then when you are doing that stuff, you know more, okay, who are you actually dealing with, and okay, you're making money if you're making money together on daytime and you're hanging out and partying at nighttime, that's possible, right? Technically, if you are looking for that type of lifestyle, but it also means that you need to be careful about choosing who you hang around with based on what type of lifestyle you're actually looking for, and that means being understanding yourself in a sense, and okay, is it compatible with my lifestyle? Okay, is it compatible with my lifestyle that, okay, this guy is inviting me out to parties and so on, like, does it make sense for me to do that? And like, if you are fine with working at the daytime and getting your work done then, and you kind of get energized by partying and so on, whatever, at the nighttime, and you are managing that type, that's a way. It's possible to do it that way, it's not completely unthinkable, but you need to think about what you actually want, what you want to achieve, and what type of people are you looking to have those types of relationship and experiences with in that regard.
Yeah. And to go a little bit back to, like I said, my biggest inspiration is my aunt and my brother.
Yeah.
And because they really they did it. My aunt, she was 19 years old when she moved from Norway to Australia, and she worked as a diver, and she got a job. She was filming on the water for Animal Planet and Discovery Channel and stuff like that. And then she was in the diving environment. She was living on a boat, with only divers that's gonna film blue whales or sharks or whatever. And she told me, like, that made her whole career, because that became all of her friends that they only did diving. And the same as my brother, he did a business out of his hobby that was camera and taking photos and stuff like that. Now he's filming. I think he's on the 10th year now. This ice road truckers on National Geographic. And with him also, I traveled. I had a job with the Travel Channel and stuff like that. So actually, yeah, my family, they are actually my aunt and my brother and stuff like that. They are really important figures in my life, and as big motivators, and to see that you can actually follow your dreams. And so it's important to have those people that you look up to. Also, and then you know what kind of people you want to have in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a bit over 2 hours now. We're going to go over some closing reflections before we end off. But for one, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone on the fence about starting their own business, what would that advice be?
On defense?
One piece of advice for anyone on the fence like
Yeah,
on like
on the
deciding
fence.
on the
On
fence?
the fence. You know, you have to evaluate. If you're on the fence, you know that you don't like the situation you are in now. You're on the fence to look if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
You know what? Just jump off the fence.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to take the first step on the other side, and that's gonna be awkward anyhow. No matter how much you plan or anything, you know, have to take the first step, and because that's gonna be on a different ground you have never been to before, and that's again, I'll practice to go out of your comfort zone, but it's never too late. It's never too late. I remember it's not so long ago. I saw this 50-year-old woman. She wanted to be a doctor. She just studied when she was 50 years old, and she was finished. It was on this God Morgen Norge on television, and you know, it's never too late. And don't limit yourself. And so, no, I'm too old, or no, I have too much bills or stuff like that. Make your dream your motivation, your passion. Find your passion, and like I said, just visualize your in your perfect place in the world. Who is that? Where is that? And trust me, like,
Yeah.
I feel so lucky that I really found it. That I know that the Africa and stuff like that's my end goal, and I feel so lucky, and that's because I dare to think those thoughts to myself and don't limit myself, and be really honest with myself. Be really honest with yourself. And what do you really want? Not the society or anybody else. Because then, you know, that's much more valuable than money. If you wake up and the alarm clock is going, and you're just waking up right away because you're so excited to go to work, because to live your life, you know, then and the money will come. If you have that's what I also say. If you have a passion for what you're doing, the money will just automatically come. If you love what you're doing, the money will come. The money will come. So don't worry about that. Just worry about what you really want to do in life. And you'll only live this once, and it's you know, make it count. You know? I also want to say this before imagine the chances, the small chances that you are actually alive right now. You know, your parents had to meet. If your mother met another guy, or your father met another woman, you know, you wouldn't sit there. And your grandmother, your great grandmothers, and your relatives 10,000 years back had to meet. You know, and there's like a million sperm cells that's coming, and only one of those cells is you. You know, it's so much coincidence that you are actually here.
Yeah.
And you are, and if you talk about Norway, and you got born in the actually best country in the world, so you know, so you are so lucky to do it, to be alive, and to live in this country. So to not take advantage of that, and just live a miserable life, or just work a miserable job, it's so pointless. It's you know, you manage to the chances, you won the lottery 10 times over just to be alive. And we are living on this planet, and we are just watching TV, tent campings. You know, it doesn't give any more sense.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Morten. So, what's
you
next
so
for you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, actually, now I'm writing a bachelor. So we are writing it actually now. So my bachelor degree will be, I'm gonna collect money from a lot of organizations. And I'm gonna have this last investor pitch with our with the Boston. So that's that's my challenge now. I'm gonna get the money what I need, and build my company.
Amazing. And how can our listeners connect with you, whether that be potential investors, others who are interested in supporting you, or maybe even joining you on the journey, or potential partners who are willing to go to Africa with you, even maybe? How can they connect with you or learn more about your work?
Yeah, my platform now it's LinkedIn. That's where I
Mm.
post what I'm doing. So I
Mm.
think if you follow me with my
Mm.
name there, Morten Petterson,
Mm.
I will of course update my achievements over there. So please
Mm.
contact me if you have
Mm.
some network in Kenya and whatever. And I have
Mm.
also an orphanage in Uganda that I'm
Mhm.
helping,
Yeah.
doing it to practice a little bit how it is to work with those governments, because a lot of
Mm.
corruption. So please hook me up to help me further with that. Yeah.
Sounds good. The link to that should be in the description below for this YouTube stream, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in getting in touch with Morten. So thank you so much, Morten. It's been amazing. Almost 2.5 hours of great discussions on a lot of different topics. I'm sure we'll get a lot of different amazing clips to spread around everywhere on the internet with this one. So it's truly been a pleasure and really appreciate having you here, and just wishing you a great weekend and good luck with all your entrepreneurial all your entrepreneurial ventures forward.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Also, yeah, it means a lot, and I really hope that we maybe change some minds today. That would be awesome. And please let us know in the comment also. If you dare to jump over the fence this time, that would be amazing for us to hear.
Absolutely. Any experiences, achievements, any aspirations, just share your comments in or share your thoughts in the comments below. And if there is anything more you wonder about, of course, we're here to help you give some advice for what may be good considerations to make in your situation.
Yeah, and I love your pod concept. It's really cool. I've never seen a Norwegian version of this. So, like for us Norwegians, even though we
Hmm.
speak in English, so
Yeah.
it's really cool, and I cheer for you, man. And yeah, it's
Thank
cool.
you, man. I cheer for you too, and wish you the best of luck with all of your ventures forward. So I think that's a good way to wrap up. So thank you for
Yep,
everything, and yeah, have a great weekend, man.
you too. All right, bye bye.
Bye.